You're here, right now, in this moment. And that's not an accident. You've been scrolling through an endless stream of content, seeking something. But what if I told you that this video found you? What if I told you that the quantum field has been orchestrating this exact moment of convergence between your consciousness and these words for longer than you realize? Most people think timing is random. They believe that opportunities, breakthroughs, and life-changing moments happen by chance. They scroll past the very information that could transform their reality because they don't understand the hidden intelligence that governs synchronicity itself. But here's what no one tells you. The universe operates on quantum timing, and when you're about to break through to a new level of reality, certain energetic signatures begin to appear. Certain information starts showing up. Certain frequencies begin to align. This video showing up in your feed right now isn't coincidence. It's confirmation. Let me explain what's really happening behind the veil of your everyday experience, and why understanding quantum timing will change everything about how you move through reality. You've been conditioned to believe that success, breakthrough, and transformation happen through force. Through grinding harder, pushing more, doing more. The entire matrix of modern achievement is built on the illusion that you have to chase your desires across a linear timeline, accumulating steps and strategies until you finally arrive at your goal. But quantum physics reveals a completely different truth about how reality actually operates. At the quantum level, particles don't move from point A to point B in straight lines. They exist in what scientists call superposition, existing in multiple states simultaneously until the moment of observation collapses them into a single reality. Your breakthrough already exists, right now, in this moment. In the quantum field of infinite possibilities, the version of you that has already won, already achieved, already become who you're trying to become, that version exists simultaneously with the version of you watching this video. The question isn't whether you can achieve what you desire. The question is, can you align your consciousness with the frequency of the version of you that has already achieved it? And this is where quantum timing becomes everything. You see, consciousness isn't separate from the field of information that surrounds you. You're not just consuming content randomly. You're not just scrolling through videos by accident. Your consciousness is constantly interfacing with the quantum field, and the field is constantly reflecting back to you exactly what matches your current vibrational state. But here's where it gets interesting. When you're about to shift into a new level of reality, when you're about to align with a breakthrough that's been waiting in the quantum field, your consciousness begins to attune to different frequencies of information. Think about it. Haven't you noticed that right before major shifts in your life, you start encountering the exact books, conversations, videos, or insights that prepare you for what's coming? This isn't coincidence. This is quantum timing in action. If these insights are landing with you, if you feel something shifting in your awareness as we explore these concepts together, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to stay connected to this frequency of understanding. Your engagement signals to the field that you're ready for more of this transmission. The field is intelligent. It knows exactly what information you need to receive at exactly the right moment to prepare your consciousness for the shift that's about to occur. And right now, the fact that you're watching this video means you're in a pre-breakthrough state. Your consciousness is already beginning to align with the frequency of your next level of reality, and the field is delivering the information you need to complete that alignment. But most people miss this. They treat information consumption as entertainment instead of recognizing it as energetic preparation. They scroll past the very videos, books, and conversations that the quantum field has specifically aligned for them because they're not operating from the understanding that everything is connected. They don't realize that their attention itself is the quantum observer that collapses infinite possibilities into singular reality. Let that land for a moment. Your attention is not passive. Your consciousness is not separate from what you observe. The very act of you choosing to watch this video instead of scrolling past it is an act of quantum selection that ripples through the field and begins to reorganize reality around the frequency of your choice. This is why the ancient wisdom traditions have always emphasized the importance of right attention, right mindfulness, right presence. They understood that consciousness is creative, not just receptive. But here's what changes everything about how you approach your breakthrough. When you understand quantum timing, you stop forcing and start flowing. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop trying to create opportunities and start recognizing that opportunities are being created for you by the intelligence of the field itself. Your breakthrough isn't something you have to make happen. It's something that's already trying to happen through you. The quantum field is constantly organizing reality to support the expansion of consciousness. Every person you meet, every piece of information you encounter, every circumstance that appears in your experience is part of an infinitely intelligent orchestration designed to support your evolution. But you have to learn to read the signals. You have to develop the sensitivity to recognize when the field is preparing you for a breakthrough. And one of the clearest signals is what I call quantum resonance. When certain information begins to show up repeatedly in your experience, when you start noticing patterns and synchronicities that feel too meaningful to be coincidental. If this video showed up for you today, if these words are landing in your consciousness with a sense of recognition rather than just intellectual curiosity, then you're experiencing quantum resonance. The field is reflecting back to you the frequency of your impending breakthrough. But quantum resonance requires something from you. It requires that you stop scrolling and start receiving. It requires that you treat this moment not as casual content consumption, but as a sacred interface between your consciousness and the intelligence of the universe. Pause with that. Breathe into that. Feel the difference between passively watching and actively receiving. When you approach information from the space of sacred receiving, everything changes. You're no longer just consuming content. You're participating in a quantum conversation with the field of infinite intelligence. And this conversation has been preparing you for what's about to unfold in your reality. Let me share with you the 3 quantum signatures that appear when you're in a pre-breakthrough state, when the field is aligning to support your next level of expansion. The first quantum signature is information magnetism. You start attracting exactly the information you need without seeking it. Books fall into your hands. Videos show up in your feed. Conversations happen that contain exactly the insight you need to hear. This isn't luck. This is your consciousness beginning to align with the frequency of your breakthrough, and the field responding by delivering the information that matches that frequency. The second quantum signature is pattern recognition. You start seeing connections between seemingly unrelated experiences. You notice that the conversation you had 3 days ago connects to the book you read last week, which connects to the dream you had last night, which connects to the video you're watching right now. These aren't coincidences. These are coherence patterns showing you that reality is reorganizing itself around the frequency of your expansion. The third quantum signature is embodied knowing. you start feeling the truth of your breakthrough in your body before you see it in your external reality. You feel the frequency of who you're becoming before you become it. You sense the energy of your next level before you step into it. This embodied knowing is your consciousness already beginning to inhabit the quantum state of your breakthrough. If you're experiencing any of these quantum signatures, then you're not just watching this video by accident. You're here because the field has been preparing you, and this information is part of that preparation. Take a moment and reflect. Which of these quantum signatures have you been experiencing in your own life? Drop a comment below and share what patterns of preparation you've been noticing. Sometimes seeing our experiences reflected in community helps us recognize the profound orchestration that's been happening behind the scenes. But here's where most people sabotage their own breakthrough. They encounter the quantum signatures, they feel the resonance, they receive the information, and then they keep scrolling. They treat the sacred as casual. They take the profound preparation that the universe has orchestrated for them, and they let it dissipate into the noise of endless distraction. Don't do that. Not today. Not when you're this close. When the quantum field delivers information that resonates at the frequency of your breakthrough, that information needs to be integrated, not just consumed. It needs to become part of your cellular reality, not just intellectual knowledge. And integration happens through conscious choice, through deliberate action, through saying yes to the frequency that's trying to emerge through you. So let me ask you something, and I want you to feel into this question rather than just thinking about it. What breakthrough has been trying to happen in your life? What expansion has been calling to you? What next level version of yourself have you been sensing but not fully stepping into? Feel that. Breathe into that. Let your consciousness attune to the frequency of that breakthrough. Because that frequency is why you're here. That frequency is what magnetized this video into your experience. That frequency is what the quantum field has been preparing you to embody. And the preparation phase is complete. The information has been delivered. The resonance has been activated. The only thing left is your conscious choice to align with what's already trying to emerge. But this alignment isn't something you do with your mind. It's something you do with your entire being. It requires that you become energetically coherent with the frequency of your breakthrough. And energetic coherence happens when your thoughts, emotions, and actions all align with the same frequency. When there's no internal conflict, no mixed signals, no part of you pulling in different directions. Most people never achieve breakthrough because they're energetically incoherent. Part of them wants transformation, while another part of them is afraid of change. Part of them believes in their vision, while another part of them doubts it's possible. Part of them takes aligned action, while another part of them sabotages that action with unconscious patterns. The quantum field responds to coherence. When your entire being is aligned with the frequency of your breakthrough, reality reorganizes itself to match that coherence. But coherence isn't something you achieve once and then maintain automatically. Coherence is something you choose moment by moment, decision by decision, breath by breath. And right now, in this moment, you have an opportunity to choose coherence. You have an opportunity to let this information integrate into your cellular reality instead of just passing through your intellectual awareness. Take a moment and comment below with this phrase: I am ready to receive my breakthrough. Not as a casual comment, but as an energetic declaration to the quantum field. As a signal that you're choosing to align with the frequency that's been preparing to emerge through you, Feel the difference between typing those words casually and declaring them as a conscious interruption in the loop of distraction. Let this be your signal to the field that you're not just consuming information, you're participating in your own transformation. The quantum field responds to intention. It responds to conscious choice. It responds to energetic declarations that come from the depth of your being rather than the surface of your mind. And when you make that declaration, when you signal to the field that you're ready to receive what's been preparing to emerge, everything begins to shift. The opportunities that have been held in quantum potentiality begin to collapse into your observable reality. But this isn't magical thinking. This is quantum mechanics applied to consciousness. This is understanding that the observer and the observed are not separate, that consciousness and reality are not separate, that your inner state and your outer experience are not separate. When you change the frequency of your consciousness, you change the frequency of what you experience. When you align with the energy of breakthrough, breakthrough aligns with you. But alignment requires more than just understanding the concept. Alignment requires embodiment. It requires that you become the frequency you want to experience rather than trying to get the experience to change your frequency. And this is where most people have it backwards. They think external circumstances need to change first, and then they'll feel different. They think success needs to happen first, and then they'll embody confidence. They think the breakthrough needs to appear first, and then they'll believe it's possible. But quantum reality works in the opposite direction. The internal state creates the external experience. The frequency you embody is the frequency you experience. The consciousness you inhabit is the reality you inhabit. Your breakthrough isn't waiting for better circumstances. Your breakthrough is waiting for you to become energetically coherent with the version of yourself that has already achieved it. And that version of yourself isn't some future possibility. That version of yourself exists right now in the quantum field. In the space of infinite potential, the breakthrough you desire has already occurred. The question is, can you feel into that reality right now? Can you sense the frequency of the version of yourself that has already won, already achieved, already become who you're trying to become? Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let your consciousness expand beyond the limitations of your current circumstances. Feel into the quantum field of infinite possibilities. In that field, there's a version of you that has already stepped into the breakthrough you've been seeking. Feel into that version. What does that version of you know that you don't know yet? How does that version of you move through reality? What frequency does that version of you embody? Don't think about these questions. Feel into them. Let your consciousness attune to the frequency of that breakthrough reality. This isn't visualization. This isn't imagination. This is quantum attunement. This is your consciousness beginning to inhabit the frequency of what already exists in the field of infinite potential. And as you attune to that frequency, as you feel into the reality of your breakthrough, something begins to shift in your cellular structure. Your nervous system begins to reorganize itself around the frequency of expansion rather than contraction. Your energy begins to align with possibility rather than limitation. This is what preparation feels like at the quantum level. Not accumulating more knowledge or strategies, but attuning your entire being to the frequency of the reality you're choosing to experience. And when you're in that frequency, when your entire being is coherent with the energy of breakthrough, the external world begins to reflect that coherence back to you. Opportunities appear. Connections happen. Resources align. Not because you're forcing them to happen, but because you've become energetically coherent with the frequency of their appearance. This is quantum timing in action. This is how breakthrough actually happens. Not through linear progression from where you are to where you want to be, but through quantum alignment with the frequency of where you want to be. Now, what I've shared with you today about quantum timing and coherence is really just touching the surface of a much deeper understanding. If these concepts are resonating with you at a cellular level, if you feel something profound awakening as we explore the mechanics of consciousness itself, then you're ready for the complete system of frequency mastery that I've developed over years of direct experience with the quantum field. In my book, Beyond the Frequencies, A Quantum Guide to Consciousness Mastery, I take you through all 9 master frequencies that govern reality creation, showing you how to move from unconscious transmission into becoming the broadcast itself, where you're no longer seeking transformation, but living as the field of infinite possibility. It's linked in the pinned comment below. But let me go deeper into what this quantum alignment actually looks like in your lived experience, because understanding the mechanics isn't enough. You need to recognize the subtle signs that show you when the field is reorganizing reality around your breakthrough. Most people miss these signs because they're looking for dramatic external changes. They expect breakthrough to announce itself with trumpets and fanfare. They think transformation has to look like the movies, sudden, obvious, impossible to miss. But quantum reality operates through what I call whisper shifts. Changes so subtle, so natural, so elegantly woven into the fabric of your experience that they almost seem like they were always there. Think about how a quantum particle behaves. It doesn't announce its transition from one state to another. One moment it exists in superposition. The next moment it has collapsed into a specific reality. The transition is instantaneous, but the effects ripple outward in ways that become increasingly observable over time. Your breakthrough follows the same pattern. The moment of quantum shift might be subtle, a change in how you feel in your body, a shift in your internal dialogue, a new quality of presence that you carry into your interactions. But these internal shifts begin to ripple outward, creating changes in your external experience that become more and more undeniable. This is why so many people struggle to trust their breakthrough when it's happening. They're experiencing the internal shift, but because the external changes haven't fully manifested yet, they doubt whether anything real is occurring. But here's what you need to understand about quantum timing. The internal shift is the breakthrough. The external changes are simply the inevitable consequence of that internal quantum leap. When you align with the frequency of your breakthrough, when you become energetically coherent with the reality you're choosing to experience, you've already won. The rest is just the quantum field catching up with your consciousness. But this requires a complete reorientation of how you measure progress and success. Instead of looking for external validation that your breakthrough is happening, you need to develop the sensitivity to feel the internal frequency shifts that indicate your consciousness is aligning with new possibilities. Let me share with you the 5 quantum frequency shifts that occur when you're moving into breakthrough, so you can recognize them when they appear in your own experience. The first quantum frequency shift is what I call reality fluidity. You begin to notice that your experience of reality becomes less fixed, less solid. Things that used to feel impossible begin to feel possible. Limitations that used to feel permanent begin to feel temporary. Your sense of what's available to you expands in ways that feel both exciting and slightly disorienting. This isn't delusion or wishful thinking. This is your consciousness beginning to perceive the quantum nature of reality itself. You're starting to see through the illusion of fixed circumstances and into the field of infinite possibility that underlies all experience. The second quantum frequency shift is synchronicity acceleration. The meaningful coincidences in your life don't just increase, they become more precise, more immediate, more obviously connected to your thoughts and intentions. You think of someone and they call. You need information and it appears in your social media feed. You desire an experience and opportunities for that experience begin manifesting around you. This isn't the universe responding to your desires. This is your consciousness becoming more coherent with the field of intelligence that's constantly organizing reality. As you align with your breakthrough frequency, you become more sensitive to the synchronistic patterns that were always there but weren't visible to you before. The third quantum frequency shift is intuitive amplification. Your inner guidance becomes stronger, clearer, more immediate. You begin to know things without knowing how you know them. You feel drawn to certain choices, certain people, certain opportunities with a conviction that bypasses logical analysis. This isn't about becoming irrational. This is about your consciousness developing the capacity to interface directly with the quantum field of information that surrounds you. Your intuition becomes a quantum sensor, detecting possibilities and potentials that your logical mind hasn't yet recognized. The fourth quantum frequency shift is emotional coherence. The internal conflicts that used to create suffering begin to resolve themselves. Not because your external circumstances have improved, but because your consciousness is no longer divided against itself. You feel more whole, more integrated, more at peace with the totality of your experience. This emotional coherence is crucial for breakthrough because the quantum field responds to coherence. When you're internally divided, when part of you wants transformation and another part resists it, you send mixed signals to the field. But when your entire being is aligned with your breakthrough, the field responds with unprecedented clarity and support. The fifth quantum frequency shift is effortless action. The actions required for your breakthrough stop feeling forced or difficult. Instead, they begin to feel natural, obvious, inevitable. You find yourself doing things that move you toward your desires not because you have to, but because not doing them would feel incongruent with who you're becoming. This effortless action is perhaps the clearest sign that you're operating in quantum timing rather than linear forcing. When you're aligned with the frequency of your breakthrough, the right actions reveal themselves naturally, and taking those actions feels like following the current of a river rather than swimming against it. Share this understanding with someone in your life who's been struggling with force and effort. When you transmit these quantum principles to another consciousness, you're not just helping them. You're reinforcing your own embodiment of these frequencies while creating ripples in the collective field that accelerate transformation for everyone. This act of conscious sharing is itself a form of quantum service. These 5 frequency shifts often happen simultaneously, creating what I call a quantum cascade, a series of internal changes that accelerate your alignment with breakthrough reality. But here's what's crucial to understand. These shifts require your conscious participation. They're not something that happens to you while you remain passive. They're something that emerges through you as you consistently choose alignment over resistance, presence over distraction, trust over control. And this brings us to one of the most profound aspects of quantum timing, It requires you to become comfortable with uncertainty. Not the uncertainty of not knowing whether your breakthrough will happen, but the uncertainty of not knowing exactly how it will unfold. Linear thinking wants to map out the entire path from where you are to where you want to be. It wants to know all the steps, anticipate all the obstacles, control all the variables. But quantum breakthrough doesn't follow linear paths. It emerges through what appears to be chaos, but is actually a deeper order that your logical mind can't predict or control. This is why so many people sabotage their breakthrough just before it happens.